Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited to introduce you to the 41st anniversary Hall of Fame inductees of Cleveland Heights High School. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for coming together tonight for our informal after show. Welcome. With me tonight, I have our Vice President of the Heights Schools Foundation Board of Trustees, Steve Haney. Shout out to Steve from the class of 91. And also Megan McMahon with us from the Heights Schools Foundation Treasurer, class of 1990. Thank you so much, Megan, for being here. Appreciate you. My colleague, Jillian White, joining us as well. Thank you for being here. And I am Julianna Johnston Centuria, the Executive Director of the Heights Schools Foundation, and it's my honor to be one of the hosts of the Distinguished Alumni Hall of Fame each year at Heights High. This is my favorite part of the program. This is where we get a chance to just talk more informally and get a sense of what people remember most about their Heights experience and some of those things that still stay with them today. But let me just remind everyone about how we got here tonight. The Hall of Fame is actually celebrating its 41st anniversary. Last year was a big one, the 40th anniversary in the middle of the new pandemic, and that brought some new traditions with it. In fact, this program is one of those traditions, and I think it's one we're actually going to keep. So we shifted our whole format in the 40th anniversary because of changes that needed to happen and made it virtual. And the nice thing is that the values behind the program and the back end of the program really hasn't changed that much since the very beginning. Some of you may remember that it was actually Dr. Patricia Ackerman who founded the program, and we were so lucky to reconnect with Dr. Ackerman around the whole process of celebrating the 40th anniversary last year. And we have worked hard to make sure that the values behind the program continue to be lifted up. And here's the best part. You guys were all selected by students today. That really is the point of the Hall of Fame. Students today are choosing people that they want to invite in and become role models, and they want to hear your stories. They picked you from a long list of amazing applicants, and so I congratulate you in every way for making the cut and for being selected by today's students. Special thanks to Dr. Carmen Daniel, who we work with at Heights High, and her amazing Gear Up students who have combed through so many applications and so carefully weighed your qualifications and in the end selected you. And they're super excited to hear your stories and learn more about each of you. So I'm going to pass it off to Steve. We have a half an hour together to talk informally and just hear more of your stories about Heights. So Steve, you're off to you.
All right. Thanks, Juliana. And congratulations again. So I'm going to throw out the first question. And please feel free to unmute yourself to ask, to answer. If you could go back to your high school years, what is the best piece of advice you give your younger self?
I can take that if you want me to start. I would say take the opportunity to explore and get involved. So there are so many things that you can try and do at Heights. So for instance, for me, I was on the wrestling team 1 year. I was on the diving team 1 year. I was a library aide for 2 years, and I was on stage crew for a year. I was in singers, Heights Singers, for 3 years. It really is a fantastic environment where you can really explore and find different facets of where you feel like you belong. So I get out there, give it a shot. It's funny, in preparing for this event, I was looking through my yearbook, and it was funny looking back through that at the number of possibilities that existed then, and I'm sure that it's even more so now. So give it a shot, find your communities of purpose.
I'd like to piggyback on that, and I think I was the only one that had a letter jacket that said band and wrestling. So I got made fun of by the band teacher on that one. But I'll also piggyback on get to know as many people as you can. I'm an engineer now, a researcher, a professor, and it's still a people business. It's all a people business, and the diversity at Heights you don't find everywhere, and how well people get along of all different types, and get to know them and try to stay in touch with them. It's really going to enrich your life.
I'll jump in as well. I mean, and to what both Christopher and Chris have said, you know, as you try different things, don't be afraid to fail. When I was in high school, I really hated math. And by the time I was in my senior year, I kind of ditched it. But I loved English and writing. And so that is what I really focused on in terms of honing the craft and becoming really good at something. So I think don't be afraid to fail and to change course.
I would add that you don't want to be afraid to ask for help. That's something that really is important, because we are aware that when you first get to that giant school, it's a little overwhelming, but there is no staff and no teacher who isn't willing to help you. So no matter who you feel like you can reach out to and ask for support, you should do so. And they will keep it secret, I promise. It won't be like they'll out you to the whole school or the classroom or even to the kids in the hall in the moment. You will have your needs met if you just ask for help.
And I'd like to ditto everything all of my fellow alumni just said. You know, I think that it's important to put yourself out, to build relationships. You never know who you're going to run into later on in life. I'm a magistrate, and I often see Heights grads who come before me in the court, and people I went to high school with. And that is always so awesome. So don't be afraid, you know, make friends with all kinds of people, because you're going to see all these people throughout your journey.
I'd like to share another perspective. I think if I'm talking to my younger self, I'm going to say, don't be so planful. Don't think that you need to plan out exactly what your life is going to be. Remain open to the possibilities. I mentor a lot of younger people, younger professionals, and I say to them, whether they're college age or grad students or young professionals in their career, think in 5-year increments, 3-year increments. Don't think in the context of, I've got to figure out now in high school what I'm going to go to college, what I'm going to do, what career I'm going to be in. And I think that's what I would tell myself, to slow down, think about all the possibilities, and don't be so focused on one career path.
Well, everybody has added so much that there's a little more to say, but I guess the one thing I would say is Heights is a place where you can have fun. There's so much to do, so many clubs you can join, so many activities you can participate in. So don't forget to make high school an experience that will go with you for the rest of your life. So it's not just all labor. Have some fun while you're there.
I'll add, I think there's been so many things, great things that were said. Maybe I'll think back to my later years in Heights. I would say that I would tell myself that Heights has prepared you. I decided to go to college after Heights, has prepared you for college. I would tell myself that when you get to college, you belong there, that you have everything that you need to be successful, and to make sure that you don't forget what you learned in high school. And I think most importantly, don't suffer in silence and ask for help.
Thank you. That's so powerful. You belong there. Thank you for saying that. Megan, I'll pass it off to you.
Yeah, I just have another question. This is one of my probably favorite parts where people get to tell a little bit of their personality. Is I like to just ask people what was their favorite memory or experience at Heights, whether it's in wrestling or band or with a teacher that really changed your life, or something really funny that just happened in the cafeteria, or some experience that really you just remember sticks out for you.
I have a great one. I was thinking about this last night, and I shared the story with my family, and everyone was laughing. So I hope that was a good premiere. I remember having assemblies in school, and every single time we had an assembly, we had two people, usually two teenager boys, carrying up the flag, up the actual aisles to get to the stage. They would stand up on the stage and hold the flags until the national anthem was sung. And then they put the flags down, and then they go back into the audience for whatever the assembly was. Well, I was pretty ticked off that I was not asked to carry the flag. So I was talking to a dear friend of mine, one of my best friends, Dana Johnston, about this, and he too was pretty ticked off. He also had not been asked to carry a flag. So apparently the two of us, fanning each other's wings, ran up to the principal's office, and Mr. Michael Ferrado, is that Ferrado? He listened to us. He actually let us in his office and sat us down and listened to us. And Dana was like, I don't understand why I just haven't been asked yet. I'm the perfect one to carry that flag. And I said very humbly, I would like to be the first female to carry the flag, and I would like to carry it in honor of the fact that my father was an immigrant, and I want to carry the United States flag. And Dana said, great, I'll carry the state of Ohio flag. And well, we were told yes, and we were told the following week there was going to be an assembly, and so we were going to be called down to the office to collect our flags in plenty of time. Well, the day came and no call down to the office happened, and all of a sudden there was the announcement for the assembly. So we both go running down as fast as we can to take our flags and get into position, so we're all out of breath. And no one told me these flags were like 50 pounds. I'm just saying, no one told me. These are wooden old poles, at least 8 feet tall. I'm still 5'2". I was a lot weaker then. And I'm holding this flag, and we start to walk up the aisle to get up on stage with this song, the national anthem. And then we turn around and very solemnly, holding the flag, face the audience. And I look over at Dana, and Dana's like so proud. He's so excited. And I'm shaking because it's hard to hold a flag that size for that long. So at some point I had to make a decision. What was I going to do? No one was coming to my rescue. I thought everyone could see me shaking, but apparently not. And I, at some point, just decided I have to put this flag down before I drop it into the audience. So I turned around and put it in its holder and came back around with my hand on my chest because we were singing the national anthem. And at that very moment, the words were, and the flag was still there, but it wasn't because I had put it down. So everyone in the audience started laughing, and I was so embarrassed. But here's what happened. We walked down hand in hand. Dana grabbed my hand, and we walked down and sat down in the back of the auditorium together. And I was mortified, and he was so excited. He said, you have to realize you just changed a tradition. You were the first female to carry a flag. And that just warmed my heart. And that's what Heights was all about for me. All the abilities we had to grow and take our strengths and run with them and be fanned by them, by the people who were there. So thank you.
That's great. I love that, Karen. Go ahead, Judy.
My favorite teacher at Cleveland Heights High was Dr. Beatrice Rabinski. She changed my life. I took literature of the Holocaust. On my 18th birthday, it was a Saturday, the doorbell rang, and it was Dr. Rabinski at my door with one of her books. And she autographed this beautiful letter to me, telling me that I was going to be someone that was going to do great things in the world. And it's important for the young people that when your teachers tell you that, believe it. And I believed it. And I do believe she was the person that was my person. And because of her, I wrote 3 books because she told me that I could. So I just want to make sure I give her the hugest shout out. She's no longer with us, but she's always in my heart. I also want to say that Dr. Ackerman, who was our unit principal, also helped to change my life. You know, it's really important. There's a lot of adults who believe in you, but it's important that you believe in yourself. And those 2 professionals, those 2 individuals, you know, help me believe in me and tell me that I could be great. And I think I am great, just like everybody here on the stage and all the students that are watching this. So thank you all for allowing me to share my memories.
There are so many memories that you have. It's hard to pick out one, but I do remember I was in honors physics back then, and Bruce Illingworth, who was in his first year, I think, of teaching, taught that class. And all I can remember is he had this 8-foot slide rule hanging behind the desk. So most of you probably came after slide rules and don't even know how to use one, but I can use an 8-foot slide rule. And sure enough, he would be able to throw that shuttle back and forth and do all the calculations on this large 8-foot slide rule that all of us could see from the back of the room. It was really pretty cool.
I have two to share very, very briefly. So context, I lived across the street from Heights High when I was growing up on Washington Boulevard. So in many ways, Heights was my personal playground for whenever it was not in session. I was on the ball fields, I was on the tennis court, I was on, you know, the grounds there. On weekend nights during the winter, I was doing crazy eights with my car when I was old enough to drive in the empty parking lot. So I have all those memories, good memories of my life growing up right in the context of the school. I took a course in 11th grade. It was an English course. It was focused on utopian literature. And I've always recalled the teacher's name as Mrs. Tobin, but I don't really remember if that was her name or not. I'll be candid with you. But that course was the most memorable course I took. She was inspirational. She helped us to think about the possibilities and what a better society might look like and how we get there. And that really helped shape my thinking in terms of what I wanted my future to be about making a difference, to doing something beyond the norm. And it was interesting as I looked at the backgrounds of the other inductees, and in one way or another, everyone on this call is doing something special with their life, whether it be immediately part of their career or what they do beyond their career and making a difference in people's lives. And that's what that course was about, and that's what it left me with.
One of my favorite memories of Heights is singing with the Heights Choir. And I used to really enjoy all of the singers and fellow choir members. But, you know, we would have this tradition where we would stand in a circle and we'd hold hands and we would close our eyes and we'd sing together. And so that really sort of imbued me with a sense of community and the importance of community and in working with other people. And so I've taken that with me into my later life, and will always remember that.
I have so many memories. I think my favorite, the most fun I had was at lunchtime in the cafeteria, because we would get together and that's where we kind of relax and crack jokes and all that. So, but I think the most memorable part, other than, you know, just all the great people, was probably the basketball. I played basketball for Heights since my freshman year. And that was really an opportunity for me to feel really like part of the school spirit, school pride, representing ourselves, pushing myself, the camaraderie, all of the friendship. So playing for Heights on the basketball team was one of the things that I loved the most about being a student. But there are so many great things about my time there, and I can't get into all the stories. But the lunchroom with my friends at the table was like so memorable every day. That was my favorite time of the day.
I've got, you know, again, so many, it's hard to get through, but I think two that really stand out to me are, you know, exploring the country with Heights singers going on tour. And I don't know if that's something they do anymore, but imagine, if you will, you know, you've got 110, 115 teenagers on a bus or a couple of buses for a week, going to a completely different city, representing our school to other schools in that city. And the faith that, you know, Mr. Thomas had in us to comport ourselves well and to, you know, be part of this group and this effort is really pretty amazing when you think about it. And, you know, that kind of comes back to, you know, some of the themes that we're hearing here about having the teachers and the adults having faith in you and helping to mentor you and, you know, show you the way. really pretty fantastic. Another one was Mrs. Turner, who I had law school with, or not law school, but law class with, which one of the things that did was convince me that I did not want to be a lawyer. But I had a great time in the class. And then another really unique thing, I think, for us, Jesse Jackson, when he was running for president, coming to address the students at Heights High. I mean, talk about an amazing experience to see him speak and to think that he came to our high school as part of his presidential campaign. Absolutely amazing, and things that you can't, replicate. So again, when you have these opportunities, take advantage of them.
I'll tell you one thing I don't miss was swimming in the North Pool. You're lucky you don't have that anymore, I'll tell you that.
I remember running in the tunnels for gym class with Mr. Mann, and I signed up for soccer for my gym class selection because I love soccer. And I was really good at setting up the people who actually got the ball in the net. The goal actually got done because I set it to them. I was fast, but I wasn't really endowed with a lot of stamina, but you couldn't tell that during gym class. So he asked me if I wanted to join the soccer team. And I was so excited. And there were a number of kids that were in my class that were also wanting me to join, right? Because I was setting them up to make goals. What he didn't tell me was I was going to need to do the warm-ups before practice, which was 5 miles. Well, I had choir after school, and I thought I could do both if I separated it out right. But once I got there and he had me do the 5 miles, I was done. I couldn't play soccer after that. So unfortunately, I didn't make it onto the soccer team, but he had already gone so far as to make sure I knew where I'd be changing clothes in his office, and he was keeping me safe and just really making it special. And I remember thinking how lucky I was that he went through all that to make sure it was okay, to try to make me feel welcomed. And it was such a neat opportunity to think of myself as a little bit more. I never would have thought of myself as a sports person, but I think my fastest mile in the tunnels was 5 minutes, 38 seconds. And that was my best. And I'm sure that was the momentum of grabbing the pole and swinging around the corner on the ends. But I haven't ever done it that fast since. So it was a good time.
Karen, I played on the basketball team and I was faster than my mile. So like.
I flunked the mile every year, repeatedly. I got an A+ in gym. I'm still really pretty good at sports, but I'm only gonna run if somebody's chasing me or something's chasing me. For the whole 4 years I was there, I got an F for the mile every year.
Mr. Mann was really kind to me because I was not good at track. He always found something else that I could be good at.
Several of you have mentioned by name a special teacher or coach. And I just invite anyone who wants to mention someone special who just said the right thing at the right time or set you on a certain path or opened up an opportunity. For our staff today, there's nothing that makes working in education more rewarding than hearing someone who has succeeded talk about people who made a difference. And we know educators day to day, the right words said at the right time can really change your trajectory. So I just want to invite you to give a shout out to anyone who, whether it was a coach or a classroom teacher or a special director who made an impact on you.
Two people that stand out for me that I'll mention today. One is Mr. Asamoto. He was a math teacher, algebra. I forget which one I took, but I mean, he always pushed me and knew that I could do better. I was the person that I got bored in class. I would sit in the back and crack jokes. At one time, I actually I can draw. So I drew a portrait of him. And it was because I wasn't paying attention to what he was teaching, but I was drawing him. And my friends saw it and they were like, they started talking about it and creating chatter. And so he said, Kenyon, what's going on back there? and I thought I surely was about to get suspended. And so he came back and he said, "What's that you're drawing?" And I gave it to him, and I knew I was going to get kicked out of school. It was nothing inappropriate. It was like him. And he looked at it and he smiled and he said, "That's pretty good." And he put it up on the wall. But he always had conversations with me about, you know, what I was capable of doing. And that really pushed me to do better in his class. And I used that when I went to school, just to really focus and believe in myself. The second person I'll mention is Coach Hurd, Everett Hurd. He was one of the assistant basketball coaches. And he was Black male, one of the first people in the school in terms of the staff and teachers that I connected with and resonated with me. He was really unorthodox in some of the things that he would say and his approach, but he knew how to connect with certain students, and he connected with me and really pushed me beyond my limits and showed me that I could do more. And so those two people stand out, and I appreciate everything that they invested in me and all the things that they did to support me when I was a student. I didn't really appreciate them until later in life, and I think that's often the case, but those are the people, the ones who push you that really helped me.
You know, Kenyon, I'm dating myself here, although our screens will signify a 19-year difference, because Coach Hurd was my classmate at Heights High. And he had those characteristics, that humanity about him, that ability to uniquely connect to other people as a teenager. So it's just wonderful to hear that impact as a coach later on coming back to the school. I think my comment about the teachers at Heights is broader, Julianna. It's that what the teachers gave me, and I know they still do, is they gave me a place to think. They facilitated an opportunity to hear from them, but more importantly, to hear from other students, to hear from diverse perspectives on things that I wasn't thinking about the way other kids were thinking about. And so there were a number of instructors, whether it be in English or history, civics, that really brought that awareness to me through their teaching and facilitation of the learning process. And that's a gift teachers give. You know, they become the unforgettable interruption in a child's life. And you have to thank them for that.
And Heights teachers really, you know, invested in me. You know, I have to mention two adults at the school. One was Pat Ackerman, who, you know, I've kept in touch with throughout the years. But when I was in high school, she was always a presence and a role model of a professional African-American woman who was in a position of leadership. And that was very important for me to see. But she was also somewhat of a guardian angel and always ensuring that she pulled me into programs and provided opportunities where I could be participate in public speaking, and really allowed me to develop my own leadership skills. And the second would be Betty Schwartz, who was my English teacher. And Mrs. Schwartz had been given a prognosis that she was going to not live long. She was a cancer survivor, and she continued to live for years after that prognosis because she really enjoyed what she did, and she invested so much in her students and in me personally. A love of learning, a love of literature, and a love of practicing and refining craft.
People have mentioned their coaches before. I played football for 3 years at Heights in the 65 LEL championship team. So, you know, coaches Gibson and Conley were very special. One of the things they taught us all was how to, if you get knocked down, to get yourself up, get dusted off, and get back in the game. And you know, you can't win unless you play. And so in so many ways, that was really good advice for me throughout my career. If you get knocked back, if there are people who don't care for you personally, just get yourself up, get dusted off, and get back in the game.
I'll jump in with another coach. Coach Hoon from wrestling was, I mean, he's a father figure for me. I have a father, I have a wonderful father, but he was 1,000 miles away at that time. And so really formative in my life at that time. And he made you earn everything. And so even the t-shirts, you could not get a t-shirt unless you did certain, numbers of pull-ups or something like that, and he took no bull. I didn't swear there. So, and he had the shirt that had no BS shirt, but you had to earn that. You couldn't buy one. You had to earn that by doing the pull-up, numbers of pull-ups, sit-ups, push-ups, and all that. Really meaningful to me.
I'd like to share the one reason why I got into college was because of a staff member. Mrs. Margot Weinshanker was my counselor, and she took great interest in my life. And I didn't have any parents that were involved in my schooling at the time. My parents had gotten divorced when I was in 6th grade. So no one was coming to any meetings on my behalf. So I only got into college because she asked me questions. She wanted to know about me, what my goals were. And I shared with her honestly, because she really did care, and we were behind closed doors, and she was just so warm and caring. And I suffered and still do suffer from dyslexia, a really severe bout of it. So I needed extra time on tests to actually be able to pass tests. And the SAT, I did not get extra time. So I flunked the SATs, and that's really hard to get into college when you do that. But she was not swayed, and she went ahead and wrote letters on my behalf to all the colleges I wanted to apply to. And because of her, I got in. I was on probation, but I got into the college of choice that I wanted. And what was really special for me was that she really understood that without her support, that would have been another student not going off to college. And she really did believe in me, and shared with them in her letters some amazing tributes to me and the work I was doing, because despite my disability, I was really smart. I was working outside of school. I was involved in a lot of events like choir, and I had some work with the special needs students as well. That was really important to me. And I've just always wanted to be a teacher. So there was no other way for me to become a teacher than getting an education. So I give her a lot of credit for that. And I thanked her a lot, Ben, too. But like you said, Kenyon, I haven't gone back. I should have gone back every year and thanked her.
Anyone else want to give a teacher or coach a shout out? We have just another minute or two. Judy?
I want to give the coaches and the teachers who are there at Heights now a big shout out. I see a lot of my peers who are now teachers. I think it's a wonderful thing to go back and to give yourself to the young people. The kids are our future. And we were once kids at Heights. We loved it there. I know I did. And that I would say that, the teachers at Heights, they really did give me the foundation. They believed in me. And because they believed in me, I believed in myself. And I want the kids today that are listening to remember to always believe in yourself, and that we, your community, your alumni, we believe in you too.
I'd like to add to that, because I think the teachers have done an incredible job during the pandemic. Now, I listened to the valedictorian speech from this past year's graduating class, and she just did a remarkable job with her speech. But it was clear that what the teachers had done to keep the students on track, to help them with their developmental arc, that otherwise would be impacted in such a significant and negative way by not being able to be together in school. The theme of the valedictorian speech was around fear and how we take on fear. And I just think the teachers, that when I listened to that, what I heard was the teachers really had helped us in this very tough 18 months to keep our heads above water and be ready for college.
Thank you guys so much. It's amazing to hear your stories and to hear the similarities across the decades that we all represent. And that continuity just comes up over and over again in my day-to-day work in the district. And I'm so proud to have a chance to introduce you to the community, to our students, to our faculty in the days ahead. So I thank you all for being here, and so look forward to getting to know each of you better in the future. For those that are watching, if you'd like to read the bios and background of our amazing Hall of Fame class of 2021, you can find all their details on our website at heightsschoolsfoundation.org. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, everybody.
Congratulations.